Iya Pak, iya. Ya, nanti yang rekening saya bawa buat ini, buat PowerPoint-nya. Yang presenting buat PowerPoint ini saya. Enggak ada, berarti cuma adanya cuma PowerPoint dari disertasi. Di grup enggak ada Pak. Iya, jadi siap. Dari lab itu tapi lanjut ada anugerah.
Empat. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the parallel session of ICOPSI. Today, you will be accompanied by me, KB Angelina Zahra, as a moderator, and also we are accompanied by Afi Rizky Zakaria as an operator. First, before I explain the rule for parallel session, do the participant hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. For the parallel session, first I will explain the rules for Excuse me, participant. Do you hear my voice clearly? Please, aku ngeblank. Aku kedengaran. Aku kedengaran. Aku ngeblank soalnya. Laptopku ngeblank. Okay. Excuse me, participants. Can you hear my voice clearly? Aku dengar apa-apa.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, before we proceed to the parallel session, I will explain to you the rule for this session. First, every presenter will be allocated 15 minutes to present their presentation and also a question and answer session. So I suggest that every presenter presenting their uh, research within 10 minutes, and if it is nearing 10 minutes and the presenter has not yet finished presenting their research, I will remind the participants for like around 8 minutes. I will give a reminder for the presenters that their allocated 10 minutes will be over, and then we'll proceed to the question and answer session for like 5 minutes, and then we proceed uh, to the other researcher. So we're going to uh, proceed this session according to the queue available in the table. So the first presenter for today's session is Ahmad Fauzan Iswahyudi, Ika Hana Pertiwi, Mafira Ashifa, with the article "The Mediating Role of Fear of Missing Out to Psychological Well-Being among Instagram Users." Is the presenter here already?
Yes, I'm present.
Oh, okay. Oh, so for your presentation, do you want the operator to help you present the PowerPoint, or you will present the PowerPoint yourself?
I'll share it by myself.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Time is yours, so you have 10 minutes to present your presentation until 18 past 1. Thank you very much. Time is yours.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. Does everyone able to see my presentation? Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ahmad Fauzan Iswahyudi. We are from team from Universitas Gajah Mada. So our research is about the mediating role of fear of missing out and Big Five personality on psychological well-being among Instagram user. Uh, let us begin with the phenomenon itself. So what happened lately? So we know that it's pandemic. We know it's bad, uh, and people are shifting from communicating face-to-face communication. They change to online communication. Now, and people shifting from type of communication, they use social media, and therefore social media use is increased. Okay, let's take a look. Now, in January 2020, there are about 175.4 million internet users in Indonesia, and it penetrates 64% of population. It's increasing 17% from 2019 itself. So, the details about social media user, there are about 160 million social media users from the various of social media, right? And then 12 million of them is increased from the last year. The data is obtained at April 2019, and it's about 59% of penetration. So why Instagram? So Instagram is unique because have many features. Mainly it's about photo sharing, but nowadays there are many features that like video, and this some people use it as some media to provide infographic, and it's second most used social media in Indonesia. It's favored because the like feature. It's only present the like, not a dislike or angry react on Facebook and something like that. And so it provides very rich environment, and people are attracted to use it. And mostly, the most importantly is the adolescents really like Instagram so much. Now, let me see the problem is when people really like attracted to the social media itself, the users tend to spend more time online. This behavior is affect user happiness and stress. And the more you spend time online, it causes fatigue, increasing anxiety and depression. Even in a rare case, there is an addiction and psychological problem. So, what the factor that might cause this? There are one of them is the fear of missing out. The fear of missing out itself is an anxious feeling about missing out on online experience when they are not accessing their social media. There are three aspects of the fear of missing out itself. So the first is the of satisfaction, second is well-being, and third one is social media engagement. So fear of missing out is motivates people to spend time online more and more. So they are not missing out any experience that may happen when they are offline. The next one is the personality. Previous studies mentioned that extraversion and neuroticism play a critical role when people behaving online. The extraversion affect the tendencies to stay connected with others, while neuroticism is tend to feel anxious when their need is not fulfilled. Now, let me talk about the psychological well-being itself. So, psychological well-being is the one's ability to recognize and develop oneself in accordance with their potential. Someone with high psychological well-being will be more productive and have better mental and physical health than those who have a low level of psychological well-being. Okay, so from this, we can assume that people who have a high psychological well-being, their need is fulfilled. Therefore, they don't need to feel fear of missing out and any others. So they also resistant with some psychological problem when they spend time online. So there are previous studies about fear of missing out and psychological well-being. The first one is from Dorit, 2015. The less satisfaction leads to fear of missing out stuff and social media engagement. From Van Lange et al., satisfaction of one basic needs can enhance well-being and reduce mental illness. So Bayens and Friesen and Egerman 2016, they stating that low relatedness desire positively correlated with fear of missing out. And Pribisky et al. 2013, individuals that has not meet their needs yet tend to experience fear of missing out. And also from Polarami, 2013, social media may lead to addictive behavior or psychiatric problems. So we propose two hypotheses in this study. The first one is there are relationship between personality and psychological well-being mediated by FOMO. And the second hypothesis is there are relationship between social media usage and psychological well-being mediated by FOMO. Okay, so the method of this study is the variable itself is demographic variable like age, gender, education, occupation, monthly spending. Independent variable itself is extraversion, neuroticism, and time. And the dependent variable is psychological well-being. The mediator is fear of missing out. The instrument we use demographic questionnaire, the personality scale, a big five. There are extraversion and neuroticism, and then FOMO from Helmi 2019, and then psychological well-being scale from RIF. That all of these questionnaire or all of this instrument already translated in Bahasa Indonesia. The procedure we use online survey via Google Form. The participant of this study is male female, age 18 until 40, and active Instagram user. Total data we gather is 143 participants with female, mostly female, and most of them are students. We analyze our data with SPSS. So we use multiple linear regression analysis and median analysis by process macro highest. So here's the result of our study. The correlation analysis itself, it's various, but we can focus on the psychological well-being. So psychological well-being is affected with education, and then monthly spending, time used online, and it positively correlate, and then extraversion, and negatively correlation with neuroticism, and negatively correlation with fear of missing out. So the next step, we analyze with multiple regression. So in this multiple regression analysis, we see that neuroticism and FOMO, extraversion, spending, have a significant result. While the relationship itself, neuroticism and FOMO have a negative effect, while extraversion and spending, it has a positive. There is this regression model have Arthur coefficient 0.390, which means the model explains 39% of the psychological well-being variance. So the first one is the mediation analysis with our first hypothesis with personality. So in neuroticism, there are a valid and negative relationship between neuroticism and FOMO. But we can see here that this and this, it shows that the relationship between neuro and psychological well-being of the Instagram user is mediated by FOMO. And this model is 47% variance, explain 47% of variance. While extraversion is not significant with FOMO. But extraversion and FOMO together, they have effect to psychological well-being. But this means that FOMO, extraversion and psychological well-being is not mediated with FOMO. The second one, we use the time used online, how much time spent people online. Time itself is not have a significant relationship with FOMO, but if almost the same model like the extraversion, so we could say that the relationship between time and psychological well-being is not mediated by FOMO. So here is the discussion. Individuals with dominant neuroticism personalities, they tend to experience fear of missing out, those having their psychological well-being affected. This finding suggests that neuroticism personalities may act as a risk factor for further cause of low psychological well-being, such as problematic social media usage and social media addiction. Knowing FOMO as the mediator variable may contribute to the development of intervention on problematic social media usage and social media addiction itself. And then second is, it has been known that fear of missing out causes individuals to spend more time online to gain online experience and won't miss out on something that happens online. So FOMO affect how individuals tend to stay online for a long period of time. But in our analysis, the time spent on social media does not predict fear of missing out. Therefore, FOMO doesn't have mediating role on the model. So our findings suggest that time spent on social media has a positive effect on individual psychological well-being. Time spent on social media may affect how social media is fulfilled individual social need online. Thus, being online with longer time, the more individual needs fulfilled. So, we thank to our lecturer, Dr. Afin Fadila Helmi, for her guidance. This research has no conflict of research. Thanks. Any question?
Thank you very much. Is there any question for any other participant? We encourage you to be active in this session so that we have a transfer of knowledge for researcher to researcher. Is there any question? You can raise your hand or you can directly ask to the researcher presenting. Is there any question? Okay, if there's no question, I think I want to know something about your research. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
From the result, I get that neuroticism and FOMO has a negative relationship. Is that true?
Yeah.
Is that mean that when people have FOMO, then their neuroticism is reduced, or when they tend to have a neuroticism personality, their FOMO is lower than any other person? Is it like that?
Uh, oh, you mean between neuroticism and FOMO itself?
Yes.
So the neuroticism and fear of missing out is a negative, which means that that people with tendencies is probably having their FOMO is reduced. Yeah.
Uh, so people with neuroticism is actually have a less tendency to have FOMO. Is it like that?
Based on our result, that's the result. Yeah.
Uh,
That's the analysis.
may we know the reason why or the explanation why
Oh,
is that so?
it's kind of hard. It's actually because it's opposed the previous paper about the fear of missing out itself. So me and my team is actually trying to figure it out because we
Uh,
still on our revision. But our logic is that neuroticism or fear of missing out itself might be really because the basic needs itself. So if we see that the factors, the aspect of the fear of missing out itself, there are three of them: the needs of satisfaction, the well-being, and spend the time spent, usage time. So between this factor, I think it's actually better for us to understand each of these aspect, which one
uh,
is actually uh, having the best relationship with neuroticism, and so we can make a better prediction later. But we
okay.
are actually still on our progress to that.
Okay, but I think this is what makes your research worthwhile because you have a different result, and this is
Yes.
specific in Indonesian subject like that. Okay, thank you very much for your
Okay. Thank
presentation.
you for the question.
Okay,
Yeah. Let me.
uh, and we will proceed to the next presenter. Anita Haryanti and Nur Eva. Are they already in the room? Excuse me, Anita Haryanti.
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. Okay, so maybe we can proceed to your presentation. So time is yours. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anita Haryanti from State University of Malang, and I will present result of my research entitled "The Correlation Between Burnout and Psychological Well-Being in Coffee Shop Barista Affected by COVID-19 Pandemic." Okay. Next. Development of coffee shop in Indonesia is experiencing rapid development. According to the research result to Tobin and Markham magazine, this development has increased 3 times from 2016 Sugianto to 2019. The competition between coffee shop owner have a marketing strategy by increasing the taste of their coffee. The coffee shop, sorry, the COVID-19 pandemic has an impact on the various dispositive, including the economic and psychological impact for the people of Indonesia. One of the psychological impact that occurs is by decreasing a person's psychological well-being. Decreased sales result in a reduction in baristas and an increased workload for baristas who are still working. Prolonged stress and cause burnout. Burnout is a form of stress and that arises due to excessive work, so that it has an impact on luck and energy and interest in work, school, and sport to 2010. There is a prolonged feeling of a train debt and workload that is not commensurate with income and monotone job, makes a lack of the self-acceptance, has a purpose in life, and lack of the mystery of the environment. The importance of psychological well-being in an individual can affect individual burnout so that it has impact on employee performance. Psychological well-being definition. RIF 1995 and explained that psychological well-being is a positive attitude that exists in individual toward themselves and others, where they can make their own decisions so that they can regulate their own behavior, create and regulate an environment that compatible with their needs, and development the existence of their life goals that make their life more meaningful, and the existence of an effort to explore and develop templates. Aspect in psychological well-being is self-acceptance, positive relationship with others, independent ability to control the external environment, life goals, and development one's potential. Supporting a factor in psychological well-being is social support, socio-economic status, social network, religiosity, personality, and stress. Next. Burnout. Definition. Maslow and Jackson to 2018 define burnout as a syndrome of emotional exhausting and cynicism that often occurs between individuals who do work. Aspect in burnout is emotional exhausting, depersonalization, decreased self-achievement, and supporting factor in burnout is environmental factor consistent of excessive workload and monotone work, control, inappropriate reward or token, conflict, loss of justice, and value. Will individual factor consistent of demographic factor and personality factor. Next method. The research applied descriptive quantitative approach and correlation research method. Correlation research aim to determine the correlation between the variable under study. The research instrument used was a burnout scale adapted from Maslow and Jackson 1981 and a psychological well-being scale adapted from Eva and BC to 2018. The the validity of the burnout scale obtained as many as 22 valid items, which means all items can be used. On the psychological well-being scale, 15 valid items were obtained and there were 3 invalid items. But in this study, all scale were still used because the psychological well-being scale was standardized. But scale have a reliability value of 0.861, which means hacks on the burnout scale, and 0.673, which means quite high on a psychological well-being scale. So it been considered that both scale can be used the research. The population of the study was coffee shop barista affected by COVID-19 pandemic located in Jalan Sudimoro, Lawakbaru, Subdistrict Malang City. And the sample in the study, we are 17 people with the criteria of working as coffee shop barista who work in Jalan Sudimoro. Next. Result. Based on the table is the consult that the significance of them is 0.023 less than to 0.05, which means that there is a significant negative correlation between burnout and psychological well-being. The correlation coefficient result obtained negative 0.272, which means the correlation between the two variables is opposite or negative. So it can be consulted that the higher the burnout experienced by the coffee shop barista, the lower the psychological well-being they have, and vice versa. The lower the burnout experienced by the coffee shop barista, the higher the psychological well-being they have. Next. An overview of burnout on coffee shop barista. The result of the descriptive analysis that have been done previously in the information stating that the burnout experienced by coffee shop barista is the low category. It can be seen from 14 respondents with percentage of 57.1% with a low score, and 30 respondents with a percentage of 42.9% with a moderate score. So it can be concluded that the majority of coffee shop barista experience burnout in a low category, so that it does not affect the quality of the work they do. Psychological well-being of coffee shop barista. Based on the result of the description analysis that has been done previously, it is found the psychological well-being of the coffee shop barista is the medium category. This can be seen from one respondent with a percentage of 1.4% in the low category, 54 respondents with a percentage of 77.1% in the medium category, and 15 respondents with a percentage of 21.4% in the high category. So it can be concluded the majority of coffee shop barista have moderate psychological well-being level. Yeah, the correlation between burnout and psychological well-being on coffee shop barista affected by COVID-19 pandemic. Based on the result of the correlation test on burnout and psychological well-being hypothesis, it was found that there was a significant negative correlation. This means that if the burnout level is high, the psychological well-being level is low, and vice versa. The study showed that coffee shop barista affected by COVID-19 pandemic had quite high psychological well-being and low burnout level. This was supported by the result obtained in each of the supporting aspect and factor for the formation of psychological well-being and burnout. In the aspect the self-acceptance and psychological well-being, the result we all quite high, while in the aspect of personal achievement on burnout saw low result. The results show that coffee shop barista affected by COVID-19 pandemic had a positive attitude toward themselves, the life they live, and accept various aspects of their life positively. Okay, next. Conclusion. Based on the result of the study, it can be considered that the coffee shop barista affected by COVID-19 pandemic did not experience burnout, so they had a good psychological well-being. Furthermore, the aspect with support psychological well-being also achieved high score. So it can be concluded that coffee shop barista who are affected by COVID-19 pandemic can accept their condition as they are. So they can have good relationship with other people and have a purpose in life to develop their positive aspect and do not experience physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion because they are a pressure at work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the presenter. Now we're open the question and answer session. So is there any question from the participants from any other participants? Maybe you can directly ask to the presenter. Okay. Is there any question?
Okay, I want to ask a question.
Okay.
Okay, my question is to this very illuminating research. How do you guys determine the adequacy of the sample on this research? That's my question about the research. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for the question. Is there any response from the presenter?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Okay, I will repeat my question again. My question is, how do you determine or how do you decide the adequacy of the sample on this research? The sample adequacy on this research. How do you decide? How do you determine that? Thank you. I hope it's clear.
Thank you. Yes. In sampling, I technique with research quota sampling.
Okay, so it's using a quota sampling like that. Okay.
And okay, and then so by using the quota sampling, then how do you decide and how do you determine the number of the quota on that quota sampling?
Okay. The sample study were 17 people with criteria of working as a coffee shop barista, work on Jalan Sudimoro, from 19 to 25 years.
Okay, like that. So all your participant is the barista. All of them are the barista working on that street, and you give them all the questionnaire. You use them as your population, or you take them as your all of them as your sample. So it's so actually you have no population. I mean, you use all that population as your participant. Is it like that? So I mean, is that actually a purposive sampling by taking all that barista who work on that street as your uh, research participant? Is it like that? To make it more clear. Mohon maaf kalau bisa.
Okay. In criteria of barista working at Sudimoro, Jalan Sudimoro, Lawakwaru Subdistrict, and age 19 to 25 years.
Oh, like that. Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Is there any question? Oh, seems like our time for this presenter is already over, so we may proceed to the next presenter. Thank you very much, Miss Anita Haryanti.
Thank you and sorry.
No, it's fine. Okay. For the next presenter, we'll be proceed to the third research, attitude toward life and spiritual health as predictors of social psychological well-being in State University of Malang student who work part-time. Uh, presented by Intan Sarah Cahyanya Prilianda, Tutut Kusnia, Gary Dwi Primastio, and Murfiah Dewi Wulandari. Are they in the room already? Okay, seems like Gary Dwi Primastio is already in the room. Will you be the one who present this research?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know whether any other participant heard the same, but I feel like I heard you. Your voice is quite unclear, so it's too low for me. Maybe you can make it louder.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, yeah. Now it's clear. Okay, you may present your research. Time is yours. Thank you.
Um, so, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for the operator. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dwi Primasio. I would like to present research that with titles of Attitudes Towards Life and Spiritual Health as Predictors of Psychological Well-being in State University of Malang, student who work part-time. This is our team, Ibu Intan Sarah Cahyana Priyanda, Ibu Dr. Jusmia, myself, Gary Dimastio, and the last one, but not least, is Ibu Murfiah Dewi Wulandari. Next. Okay, so this is the solution that I would like to. Humans are not static creatures. Stories grow every day. One of the stages we are going through is adulthood. This time of age is well known to be much demanding than the last stages because the responsibility that put upon us is tremendous. This feeling especially much more apparent within students, uh, especially because they're still adapting to the transition of becoming an adult. One of the example is the money demands, especially to accommodate their education or their daily life. And because of that, a lot of students decided to do a part-time job. Although part-time job can be beneficial for students, according to survey in University of Divalo in Puspita Dewi 2012, they stated stress also experienced by working students. The reason why they susceptibility towards stress is because not only they're busy with their work, but also they have academic schedule and also try to develop their social life. And obviously, this stress can be bad, especially if it's not recognized, because they will create a feeling, not being able to think well, worrying too much, feeling that life is worthless, and feeling anxious for no reason. From the problem, then we hypothesize that psychological well-being for part-time job students can be supported through a positive attitude toward life and also a good spiritual health. Next. So this is from our literature review. There are three variables. The first one is the psychological well-being, which we conclude to be defined as an individuals are free from psychological disorder so that they can function properly. And then, according to Reeve in Ramadani et al. 2016, there are six aspects of psychological well-being. There are self-acceptance, positive relation with others, autonomy, personal growth, environmental mastery, and also purpose in life. Next one is the attitude towards life. The attitude towards life is defined as attitudes that contains comprehensive values and perspective that individuals hold to a way of life and life itself, illness, old age, and also death. According to Rector and Peacock and Rector et al. 1987, there are seven aspects of attitudes towards life. There
are life purpose, existential vacuum, life control, that acceptance, will to meaning, goal seeking, and also future meaning. Last one is the spiritual health, which we define as the connectedness of the body, mind, and spirit in the context of inner peace and relating to the others and to nature. According to Fisher, 2010, there are 4 aspects of the spiritual health: personal domain, communal domain, environmental domain, and transcendental domain. Next. So this is the method that we use. And the variables that we have for the independence variables is attitude towards life and also spiritual health. And for the dependent variable is psychological well-being. Next. So this is the population examples that we use. The total population is and also the population criteria is the first one, active student at State University of Malang, and the second one is have a part-time job. Next. This is the instrument that we use. There are 3 instruments: the source life scale, spiritual health scale, and also psychological well-being scale. Next. Okay, so from the instrument that we use, accordingly, we found the validity and reliability. So the first one, the psychological well-being scale, which contains 18 items in total. We found 12 favorable items and 6 unfavorable. Also, after conducting validity tests, we found that 6 items were declared invalid or failed, and 12 remained valid. And also the reliability that we use is from that, and the reliability that we get from psychological well-being scale is 0.723. Next one is the attitude towards life scale, which contains 44 items in total, and after conducting validity tests, 28 were valid. After that, 2 items go through the working process, and then after going through the validity test again, it's reduced to 30 items from 44. Then we found 28 were valid from 30 that invalid or failed. And for the reliability, we found 0.748. Last one is the spiritual health scale, which contains 20 items in total. We found 24 favorable items, and also after conducting valid tests, we found that 3 items were declared invalid or failed, and 17 remain valid. The reliability that we found is 0.752. Next. So this is the result of the data analysis. First one is descriptive analysis technique, which total of respondents is 85. And so for the all variables, psychological well-being, attitude life, and also spiritual health, the respondents is in moderate level category. Next. From all of the analysis tests that we use, we conclude in discussion and conclusion. So for the first one is attitude towards life as predictors of psychological well-being. We found the significance is obtained is 0.00, which is lower value than 0.005. And that means that it is significant and also contribute to psychological well-being. It is also supported by Edmonds concept, which stated that a positive attitude towards life will encourage individuals to have better psychological well-being. The next one is spiritual health as predictor of psychological well-being. The significance obtained is 0.121, which greater value than 0.005, and it is concluded that it is contribute to psychological well-being, but it's not significant. It is also supported by Covert and Buck that stated transcendence remove emotional wounds and the wounds of death, and thus becomes a new promise for life purpose and acceptance of the unavoidable. The last one is added soul life and spiritual health as predictor of psychological well-being. From the linear regression analysis, we found that our score are 0.595, which are concluded to be significant influence. So from all of this, we conclude that if the individuals can calm themselves and purify their mind in a calm state, the conclusion is that attitudes towards life and spiritual health are predictors of psychological well-being. That is all from me. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation. Okay, we are open the question and answer session. Is there any question from the participants? Okay. Maybe you can directly, maybe you can unmute your mic and ask directly if you have any question.
All right. Thank you, Mbak Gaby.
Okay, please.
I will ask Gary, Mas Gary. The question is, based on your research, is there any suggestion on how to shape the attitude toward life on university students to enhance their psychological well-being?
Okay, thank you, Nahla
Thank
Fada.
you.
Okay, please, the presenter, you may please respond to the question.
So if it's talking about, I think intervention is outside from our research, but if we reflect from our research, we conclude that the level of psychological student in State University of Malang have moderate level of stress level, so it's not really that big. But also, if I can suggest, maybe from my other research, I do also have an experience that we can use, for example, in spiritual health, for example, we can use cultural basis for intervention so that they can have much more morality inside them. Because this is they can connect with themselves, with other people, and also with spiritual being. I think that's the solution that I can give. I hope it's answered your question.
Okay, so how about the response? Is there any other question from Miss Nahla Fada?
No, it's enough. It's clear enough. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much for the presenter. Is there any more question? Okay, seems like there are no more question for this presenter, so we may proceed to the next presenter. The role of bystander effect on body shaming intensity in psychology student in Malang City. With the presenter is Safira Yusri Maulani, Aryudo Widiatmo, Immanuel Hitipiu, and Yudi Triharsono. Are they in the room already? Okay, yes, okay. We have Safira Yusri Maulani here as the presenter. So let's proceed to the next presentation. Time is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Safira Yusri Maulani from State University of Malang. Now, I would like to present my paper with the title is The Role of Bystander Effect on Body Shaming Intensity in Psychology Student in Malang City. Next. Introduction. Physical appearance has been made as one of the many components taking certain important role in daily activities. Physical appearance trigger a subjective assessment of the society developing into standard. The effect of criteria standard is people force their bodies accordingly the standards that apply in society. In addition, they will participate in commenting, criticizing, and physically insulting others that call for bad bullying. According to Rigby 1999, the three types of bullying behavior consist of first, verbal bullying by insulting and berating. Second, physical bullying by hitting, grabbing, and slapping. Third, gestural bullying by looking cynically or away. In a bullying situation, there are three parties involved, namely the perpetrator, victim, and bystander. Bystander is one indicator that can strengthen bullying behavior. Bystander can encourage the abuser through verbal support or remain silent and impartial, or come forward and try to stop bullying situation, Ahmed 2006. If the bystander is an audience present at an event, that there is a social phenomenon called the bystander effect. The bystander effect is a situation when people are only spectators of an event that requires assistance but do not to provide assistance because they think other people can provide help. Next. The bystander effect can occur in any situation, including body shaming situation. Rahma Baharudin 2019 mentioned body shaming is criticizing or giving negative comments to someone's physical form intentionally or not. The process of body shaming consisting of perpetrators, victims, and bystanders. Also, the perpetrator and the victim are directly related in the process. The presence of bystander can be a reinforcement and support for the perpetrator to take repeat action. Now, body shaming has entered the category of worrying. The National Police Headquarters Santoso 2018 explained that there were 966 cases of physical humiliation or body shaming handled by police from all over Indonesia throughout 2018. Based on the initial interviews that have been conducted, it was found that psychology students at University in Malang had witnessed or heard of body shaming in their surroundings. However, they admitted that they didn't help and were silenced. Several students said that they would have defended the victim if they were close to the perpetrator. In addition, psychology students are also proven to be perpetrators of body shaming, whereas psychology students should have sufficient sensitivity to the issue of body shaming, including the impact of body shaming. Next. The study used literature review. Is the bystander effect is the perception of the perpetrator in assessing the presence and intervention of bystander in body shaming events. The bystander behavior model described by Latane Dale in UALE 2010, which consisted of the behavior of others in being aware of the situation, interpreting problems, having personal responsibility, and determining the type of assistance. Next, the intensity of body shaming is the frequency of criticizing or giving negative comments on a person's physical form intentionally or not. This scale used the form of body shaming behavior by Amri 2020, which included oral body shaming, written body shaming, and action body shaming. Next. The method of this study. There are population 5,102 students majoring in psychology from various universities in Malang City with sampled 100 psychology students. The research design is descriptive correlational quantitative approach and used bystander effect scale based on the bystander behavior model by Latane and Galley in UALE 2010 that has 38 items. Other scale is body shaming intensity scale based on the form of body shaming behavior by Amri 2020 that has 32 items. Next. The result of this study, normality test, linearity test, and hypothesis test. This research used a simple linear regression analysis. There are 5.4% variable body shaming intensity can be explained by the variable bystander effect. Next. Okay, discussion. First, the bystander effect on psychology student in the city of Malang is in the medium category. Second, the intensity of body shaming in psychology student in Malang City is in the medium category. Third, the bystander effect is able to play a significant role in the intensity of body shaming in psychology student in Malang City. This proves that the perception of body shaming perpetrators of the presence of bystanders can increase the occurrence of body shaming action in the campus area. The results of this study are reinforced by the research of Hawking, Kepler, and Craig 2001, which explain that bullying behavior can increase due to the presence of bystanders who witness and attend when bullying situation occur. Hansen's research 2013 also added that the act of bullying is very dependent on the reaction of the bystander, which consisted of two types of bystander, namely passive bystanders or supportive bystanders by cheering. Next. Okay, last, closing. Recommendation for psychology students are expected to be more sensitive to act of bullying, especially body shaming, so that it can be suppress the intensity of body shaming action anywhere. Recommendation for further researcher are expected to examine the bystander effect associated with other variables because there are very few studies on the bystander effect. In addition, it is highly recommended to take more research samples in order to obtain varied data to further enrich the research. Finally, research subjects used are expected to cover the wider community. Therefore, the research results are not limited to a community and can be generalized. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the presenter. So now we're going to the question and answer session. Okay, is there any question from any other participant in the room? Okay, is there any question? Oh,
All right. Can I ask the presenter?
yes, you may.
Okay, I would like to ask Miss Safira. And the question is, as we know, your paper is about the bystander effect on bullying, right? And how do you make them, those bystanders would admit that they were there when the bullying happened? Is that clear enough?
Can you repeat the question?
Okay, Miss Nahla, can you repeat the question?
All right, Miss Safira, as we know, the bystanders are aware that those bullyings are wrong, right?
Right.
And the bulliers, how do you make them admit that they did that to the victims? Do you get my point?
Okay, I get it.
All right,
Okay,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, Miss Safira, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Nahla, for the question. I would like to answer. I use informed consent before I I use informed consent before I take it to the bullying perpetrators. In the informed consent, mentioned that perpetrator wait.
Miss, you can mix it with Indonesian,
Oh,
so all participants will understand it better.
oh, okay. I use Indonesian. It's alright. Jadi,
It's alright.
oke, jadi caranya membuat mereka mengaku sebagai pelaku dari body shaming itu sendiri adalah saya menggunakan, sebelum saya menyebarkan skala saya, di situ saya mencantumkan informed consent, di mana informed consent-nya itu sudah tercatat, sudah menyebutkan bahwa data yang digunakan ini hanya akan digunakan pada penelitian, dan di situ juga disebutkan bahwa orang-orang yang bisa mengisi skala saya ini atau alat ukur saya ini adalah orang-orang yang pernah melakukan tindakan bullying, begitu, dan merupakan mahasiswa aktif psikologi di Kota Malang.
Okay, thank you for the answer. So, Miss Nahla, have you satisfied with the answer?
Thank you very much, Miss Safira.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Safira. Such a nice research. So, we can conclude that this research has finished being presented. So we're going to the next research: religious coping strategies in overcoming lonely as a trigger factor for elderly suicide in Gunung Kidul during pandemic. Presented by Dedi Heri Sutendi, M. Akbar Nugroho, Ari Setiawan, Bahran Taif, Desi Kristiani, Rohmat Nur Syahid, and Ahmad Muhammad Diponegoro. Are they already in the room?
Aristiawan, Miss.
Okay.
Aristiawan. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. So you may present your research. Time is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss. Good afternoon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We respect, ladies and gentlemen, allow us to present with the title Religious Coping Strategies in Overcoming Lonely as a Trigger Factor for Elderly Suicide in Gunung Kidul during pandemic. Created by Dedi, Akbar, Ari, Bahran, Desi, Rohmat, dan Ahmad Muhammad Diponegoro. Next. Suicide is an of stopping one life that can be done by oneself or another person. The request of someone who wants to end his life. Mukarramah and Nukul, suicide item are a way to express negative feeling. Sandman suicidal behavior is a behavior of conscious destruction by the perpetrator, which is considered by the perpetrator as the best solution. O'Connor and Knock suicide is related to behavior and the urge of the individual's mind to end his life. The suicide realized with what he had done. Durkheim, usually the perpetrators also like a bad relationship with the community in terms of acceptance and expectation. Next. According to Durkheim, there are 4 types of suicide. 1, egoistic suicide. 2, altruism suicide. 3, anomy suicide. And 4, fatalistic suicide. According to Join, there are the factors that can lead to suicide. 1, namely feelings of loneliness because they feel they are not parts of others. 2, feelings of worthlessness because they are a burden to others. 3, and the ability to do so. Regarding to third factor, it is more influenced by repeated experience of stress and trauma, resulting in the power and effort to commit suicide. Next. A global suicide case in Indonesia. A global suicide case. On WHO global estimate it is estimated that the death rate due to suicide suicide is a global phenomenon, and in fact dalam fakta 9% of suicide occur in low and middle income countries. Suicide case in Indonesia, it can be estimated that the number of death due to suicide in Indonesia is around 900 cases per year. Next, case of suicide in the elderly in several countries. The study of FINCAM with evaluated group psychoeducation program for veterans in the United States who were statistically more vulnerable than civilian groups. In suicide case study in Japan, many elderly people do not get much attention. Their life feel lonely, so that frustration and depression result in increase in the number is suicides in the elderly in Japan. Another study in China revealed that loneliness, helplessness, and depressive symptoms interact with each other in ingression to the risk of suicide in the elderly. In a review paper by Becky, it was found that men aged 5 years and over had a greater vulnerability with more significant predictor factor due to psychiatric disorder or depression, anxiety, on bipolar disorder, for medical condition, stress or loss, and living alone. The elderly are known to have susceptibility to physical and psychological illness and stay disorder as a result of the loss of a partner and attention, social limitation, and cognitive difficulties. This circumstance led to an increase in suicidal ideation in the elderly. Next, case of suicide in elderly in Gunung Kidul. One of the main driving factor for suicide in Gunung Kidul is loneliness. Meanwhile, a study conducted by Rahmi on religiosity and loneliness experienced by PWRI in West Sumatra show that the role of strengthening religiosity could effectively reduce the level of loneliness. This study is supported by Hermawati and Hidayat, which state that the factor of religiosity has an important effect in reducing the level of loneliness in the elderly. Next, research purpose. The purpose of this study is referral the religious coping strategies used by the elderly in Gunung Kidul in overcoming loneliness, which is the main factor in the emergency of suicidal ideation. Next, research participant. This research was conducted in Gunung Kidul district. Primary data was carried out by interviewing informant, who were divided into main informant, namely family of suicide perpetrators to 5 elderly people who were alone and supporting informant from community leaders and consisting of police, social activity, head of dusun, lurah, religious figure, totaling 6 people. For data enrichment, live in observation and studies of various literatures and only news media were also carried out. The study used a qualitative research approach with phenomenology case study method. Procedure data was collected by means of semi-structured interview, field observation by way of live in deepening of literature, and let's new in the mass media research used to in the form of a voice record for the interview process and books and stationery for file notes. Furthermore, the result of the recording will be processed into verbatim form so that the author can analyze psychology meaning. From the result of the psychology meaning, the research caused several themes which were then grouped into several categories. Furthermore, these categories become the core of the research discussion. Next, result poverty. Most of the poor people in Gunung Kidul are farmers or laborers. The geographical condition of Gunung Kidul, which is early limestone and drylands, cause agriculture to be enabled to become the foundation of life. To Landlai, the people of Gunung Kidul are resistant to poverty or a constant life, but they are actually depressed when the Morlans will the attention of their family and cannot interact social properly. 3. A chronic pain, when the elderly who are poor and living alone or are sick. What is on it is the attention of the parties, especially their families or children. For myths, the myths of Pulonghang is a widely circulated story, but the version in society differ from one another. Pulong hanging is a child fireball phenomenon that accompanies sunset. Some are considered as pulong or luck with various information circulating this so that pulong hang is just a myth. 5. Religiosity. From the information, most of the suicide perpetrators were in an area that looked religious guidance and individually did not practice their worship properly and rarely participate in religious training such as recitation or spiritual training. Next, conclusion from the result of the analysis and discussion, it can be concluded that 1. Long lines cause the elderly to experience various difficulties, including when experiencing pain, become more psychological helplessness due to lack of sufficient attention, feeling less valuable, becoming a burden to other people and triggering depression. This situation encourages suicidal behavior in the elderly. Two, elderly who have good religious belief and activities have more alternative stress coping than those who do not have religious activities. Religious activities such as congregational worship and recitation and or spiritual source provide benefit for strengthening knowledge and better social interaction, coping stress, and can be done is thoughts, prayer, or digger. Being grateful for the situation. If you are sick, it is a belief to about send or files or of reward, and there are reinforcement from others worshipper who had. Demikian, thank you, Miss.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation. Me personally interested in this research because I think this is something that specifically happen in Indonesia in our uh, background of culture. Is there any question from the participants? Okay, if there's no question from the participants, I personally want to ask the presenters about the presenter about this research. So I'm quite curious since in Gunung Kidul there also a phenomena, a myth that called pulung gantung. So how do they perceive the person who suicide, who died because of hanging themselves or because they suicide? How do they perceive the person? How do they perceive that these people are doing such a sinful action, or do they perceive them more as a victim of this myth like that?
Uh, the,
Jadi maksud saya
the,
apa ya, untuk mereka
yang
yang meninggal karena gantung diri begitu, apakah di sana di Gunung Kidul sendiri mereka dipersepsikan sebagai seseorang yang melakukan dosa ataukah dipersepsikan sebagai sebagai korban dari eh, musibah-musibah seperti pulung gantung yang sifatnya supernatural seperti itu begitu, Pak?
ya, jadi memang ada banyak versi yang bisa disampaikan di sini. Kalau secara psikologi memang ini karena ada pengaruh kesepian tadi. Jadi kesepian itu artinya bahwa di usia-usia lansia itu mereka banyak hal yang jarang dilakukan, aktivitas yang jarang dilakukan. Bahkan aktivitas-aktivitas yang khususnya menjurus ke religiositas atau keagamaan ini masih kurang. Sehingga secara psikologi itu sepi ya, merasa kesepian. Sedangkan ada juga pendapat, dan ini memang jadi jadi istilahnya tadi mitos ya, jadi mitos di sana, dan itu kejadiannya juga memang berulang-ulang. Seperti ada bola api itu nanti yang kalau ada rumah yang kejatuhan itu next day nanti pasti akan ada kejadian kasus bunuh diri ini. Walaupun dalam hal masalah yang terjadi itu nanti banyak hal, tidak hanya masalah ekonomi, kesepian, dan lain sebagainya. Mungkin begitu, Miss, yang bisa kami sampaikan. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for the answer. Okay, so we can conclude that this presentation is over and we can proceed to the next research. Needs analysis of cyber education based pre-marriage guidance models for students, presented by Ella Fardatizen, Dwi Mahpuspitasari, Widya Multisari, Dewi Devi Prabhawati and Hamidah binti Sulaiman. So I give the time for the presenter. Please present your research.
Oke, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Good afternoon, Bapak and Ibu, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dwinik Mahpuspitasari, and today I will do a presentation with the title Need Analysis of Cyber Education Based Primary Guidance Models for Students. And here we are as a team with the first author is Ibu Dr. Anda Ella Faridati Zen, MPD. Assalamualaikum Ibu, good afternoon. And then me, myself, Dwinik Mahpuspitasari, and then we have Ibu Widya Multisari and Ibu Devi Prabhawati. And we are from Universitas Negeri Malang, but Dr. Hamidah binti Sulaiman is from Malayan University. I'll start with the introduction. So we believe that marriage, as we know that marriage is a relationship between a man and a woman as a husband and a wife to build a family. Marriage requires preparation because it will have an impact on the continuity of the age of marriage, and problems that arise due to the lack of preparation are vulnerable to causing conflict. It is based on Sari and Sunarti in 2013, and they explain that the conflicts may appear like do not find a way out. Things that may occur other than marital fights are cases of violence, unfulfilled needs of partners, and divorce. And then if we see that marriage from psychological point of view based on Maslow hierarchy theory, we see that marriage in the first stage or the first step in physiological needs perhaps can provide related to fulfillment of basic needs of all humans, such as resting, avoiding pain, sex, and others. And then in safety needs, including needs of protection, security, stability, and others. In love and belonging needs, to find and share the love with partner, to get children, and etc. In esteem needs, they may need related status, attention, reputation, and achievement. In the top of the level in hierarchy theory by Maslow, there is self-actualization in marriage. This type of need is closely related to the desire to realize and develop self-potential. And here are the problems of marriage that we collect from several studies. Number one is economics problem. It is stated at Raharjo et al. In 2015 that economic pressure has a significant effect on the subjective welfare of the family. And then disharmonious relationship, that it is caused from interpersonal communication between husband and wife, well, it's not well developed. And then in psychological problems, there are stress and then long distance marriage that cause sadness or anxiety due to the absence of a partner, and then domestic violence, parent and child conflict, and then affair, lack of responsibility, have no descendants, and etc. There are some of the problems that we collect, but we believe that the problems could be more than this. And then the government, through the Coordinating Minister for Development and Culture, or Bidang Pembangunan Manusia dan Kebudayaan, plans to provide new regulation for prospective married couples who will marry in 2020. And people who will get married are required to take premarital classes or guidance as a condition of marriage. The main goal is that the community is have like better understanding of family life and then health, husband and wife issues, and stunting in children. This is the strategy that we found in the previous literature, how to fostering a harmonious family. Number one is premarital guidance and counseling that we concern on this, and then education about family resilience and improve the quality of community with family. And then premarital guidance is one of the important things to do, since it is the initial step and foundation that must be prepared in building family life. And another understanding of premarital guidance, according to Willis in 2009, is an effort to help brides and grooms carry out by professional counselors to achieve the aims of marriage. For instance, be able to solve the problems through mutual respect and develop well-being in family. And then in the following years, research showed that premarital guidance was able to reduce the divorce rate. And then these objectives can be described as follows: that it is to understand the nature of marriage, the purpose of marriage, the terms of marriage, and then their readiness to carry out a marriage, and to help individuals find peace in life and give each other love. Next, in this era of the Industrial Revolution, we know that technological development is growing rapidly, which affects various sectors of life, and one of which is the system of education. And education today has taken advantage of technological developments with the aim of improving the quality of learning. In line with the provision of premarital guidance, which will involve technological development, it can certainly provide convenience for users because the material can be accessed by anyone, anywhere, and anytime. So cyber education is one type of learning media that involves information technology that functions as a tool to distribute information. So this aim of the research, anticipating failures in fostering a household by maintaining harmony and improving problem-solving abilities, and to understanding the duties and responsibility as family members. Here's the methodology. We use descriptive quantitative method with the aims to describe a phenomenon, event, symptoms, or incidents. And then the instruments, we use a questionnaire that we distributed via Google Form. It contains 18 questions. And then here's the distribution of or the number of the subject. We have 79.6% in women and 20.4% in men, with a total 280. And then this is the range of age of subject from 18 to 26. And then next, this is the stage of our research. In the first step, we do literature review and then focus group discussion and instrument preparation. The aim is to examine what kind of needs can be provided in premarital guidance. And then after that, we collect the data, we distribute the form to students at UNESA, Universitas Negeri Surabaya. And then UNES, Universitas Negeri Semarang, UNY, Universitas Negeri Yogyakarta, and UPI, Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia. And data analysis and develop planning as the third step in this paper, we focus on determining the priority needs, identifying materials and media. This is the results and discussion that we asked to the 280 subject or participants about if they are participating in primary guidance, and the theme is anticipating failure. And the theme about fostering a family, they want the material about effective communication, the ability to understand each other and interpersonal relationship to provide in the primary guidance. And then about the problem solving, they want like systematic problem solving skill and win-win solution strategies to resolve conflict. And here's the another result, how to understanding duties and responsibilities as a family member, duties as husband, wives, and parents. This is the total of the number of majority respond. The first material is understanding of the rights and needs of children, and then the rights and obligation of wives and limitation and roles of husband and wife. And then in family function, about problems in the family that may be faced or occur, and how to build family resilience. And caring for love, the materials is about understand personal and partner characteristic, and then managing emotion and management conflict. And how we process the model of marriage guidance. The majority of the answer, they want a combination of offline and online, and then offline or face-to-face and online with the less percentage, yeah. And then training model with explanatory video, book of materials, and module. Video material, most of them or the majority ones like animation videos, and then presentation videos and text videos. And the duration is about 5 until 10 minutes, and then 10 until 15 minutes, and more than 15 minutes is only 12.5%. And training platform, most of them want to the primary guidance to deliver or provide in MOOC or massive open online course platform, and then after that in group WhatsApp group, and use Google Meet. And the type of evaluation is open-ended question, case studies, and quizzes. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presenter. Okay, is there any question for the presenter? Okay, for anyone in the room, is there any question? Okay, I think if there are no questions from from the other participants, maybe we can proceed to the next presenter, because we also have a limited time, so we can proceed faster to the last presenter. Thank you Bu Dwi Nikmah Puspitasari as the presenter. Now we proceed to the research the relationship between political participation and subjective well-being in beginner voters in Faculty of Psychology, State University of Malang, presented by Aditya Mukti Tiasmoro, Tutut Husniyah, Huriyah Ar-Rahmah, and Kalita Asmara Astantia. Are they in the room already? Yes. Okay. Yeah. We have. Okay, for those who present this research.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I am a presenter.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Huriyah Ar-Rahmah. You can directly proceed to your presentation. Time is yours.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. May you hear my voice?
Yeah, we can hear your voice clearly.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Surya Ar-Rahmah. Today I will present a scientific paper entitled The Correlationship Between Political Participation and Subjective Well-Being in Beginner Voters, Faculty of Educational Psychology, State University of Malang. A cross-country study showed that individuals living in regimes that provide greater political freedom can make people happier than those living elsewhere. Using the research from Switzerland conducted by Frey and Sutters, it was found that individuals who have many opportunities to participate in politics directly will be more satisfied with their lives than those who do not. And here are some definition of subjective well-being. So I will choose one from Van Hoven. Subjective well-being is a form of level for which an individual measures their life quality as something expected and feels pleasant emotion. And for Morrison and Friends, 2010, subjective well-being indicate life satisfaction, evaluation of essential life domains, their positive emotion, and experience of few negative emotion. And for political participation, we choose Cornizza and Cuten 20 and 14 refers to activities by netizens that are more or less directly aligned to influence government decision of the action take there. First-time voters are a subject and also an object in political activities. The activities include the existence of general election and activities. This research is a non-experimental research and a descriptive correlation research type. The population in the study were students of the Faculty of Educational Psychology, University of Malang, who has voting rights. The sample in this research was 90 people with the characteristic of active students of Faculty of Educational Psychology, age 17 until 21, and registered as permanent voters in the voter list. We have 3 research instruments. First, the political participation scale. Second, satisfaction with life scale. And the last, scale of positive and negative experience. Research procedure. The study was conducted for 7 days on April 11 until 18, 2016. To distributed the political participation scale and subjective well-being scale, and also conducted short interviews. We have 2 types of data analysis. One, descriptive analysis, and second, correlation analysis using person products moment formula. And the result from 90 research subjects RB concluded that there is a significant correlation between political participation and subjective well-being. Correlation coefficient value of 0.48 indicates that the closeness of the correlation between political participation and subjective well-being is moderate. And discussion. Diener and Friends categories subjective well-being into 2, namely evaluation or judgment and affective or emotional dimension. Subjective well-being has factors including gender difference, goals, quality of social connection, and personality. One indicator that we get democratic politics doing is the participation of the community in political field. In our society, there are always unavoidable differences. Like with in political field, everyone has a different mindset and perspective in looking at problems. The hypothesis test results show that there is a significant positive correlation between political participation and subjective well-being, which means that the correlation between the 2 variables is directly proportional and in line with Wade's, Shapiro, and Winters 208 research called Political Participation and Quality of Life. Someone who participates politically is likely to be satisfied with voting regardless of the possibility of influencing the outcome of the election. They will feel proud of themselves for participating in the government process. Some studies show that individuals who live in liberal democracies affected their life of happiness, and many research also show that happier people will participate in the political process. And the conclusion is most of the first-time voter level of political participation in Faculty of Educational Psychology, State University of Malang is high, and most of the first-time voter level of subjective well-being at the Faculty of Educational Psychology, University of Malang is high. There is a significant positive correlation between political participation and subjective well-being, meaning that the level of subjective well-being will also be high if the level of political participation and high. This is for me. Thank you for your attention. May you have any question?
Thank you for the presenters. Is there any question from all the other participants? Is there any question? Okay, if there is no question, we can end this session because we are also limited. We have a limited time allotted to us, so we can end this session as scheduled at 45 past 2. So maybe, and thank you for every single participants that already participated your research. I personally hope that this session give you such an insightful experience to every one of you. And before that, I would like to say sorry to Mrs. Ella Faridatizen because there are a question in the chat, but I missed it, so I'm not so that question is not yet asked to Mr. Ari Setiawan as the presenter at the time. I'm so sorry, ma'am. And I'd like to say thank you for all the participants. I would like to say sorry if I have such a mistake in moderating all of you. So we can end this session. Thank you very much, and thank you to the operator also, Afi Rizky Zakaria. Thank you all. Okay, before we end this session, we would like to ask all the participants to open the cam, and we'll do the documentation first. Okay. So please all participants to open the camera. Okay, we're going to take a picture and 3, 2, 1. Okay, do we need more? Okay, we need one more picture session, so going to take picture in 3, 2, 1. Okay. Thank you very much for all the participants for your participation. We officially end this session. Hopefully we can meet again in another occasion and have such an insightful conference like this. Thank you very much. All the participants, you may leave the room. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Miss.
Okay, thank you, sir.